I feel like I am the voice for certain people. You know, I am here to connect you, the viewer, to somebody you might.
I guarantee you, when that opportunity presents itself, you are going to dip from every single one of those wells to make it happen. Welcome to Come Back with Erica Cobb, a community of folks like yourselves who are getting ready and staying ready for their next chapter. Well, I am so excited to speak with this woman again, this time on my podcast. She is an actress, writer, director, and producer. She's also a two-time Film Independent Spirit Award nominee and Gotham Award winner, recognized from her wide range of work, including Angela Bassett's Whitney and Denzel Washington's Antoine Fisher story. She is currently preparing to reprise her role as series regular Jada Washington in the critically acclaimed Showtime drama The Chi, which is going into its fifth season, believe it or not. Yolonda Ross, welcome to Come Back with Erica Cobb.
What's up, Erica?
Hey, girl. Hey, I am so excited to see you. I want to start first. Let's start with this because 2022 is where all dreams come true, right? So, what are you manifesting this year?
Ooh, boy, the list is long. Let me just say, I am manifesting my first feature directing. I'm manifesting like positive change in my life, just positive moving up in my life, a home of my own. So yes.
I love it. I love it. And when you say home of your own, is that also because obviously you've been a working actress for quite some time? When you say home, I know you're not just necessarily talking about the physical property. Are you also talking about making decisions about where you want your permanent home to be?
It's all of it. It is. It's all of it because I've lived in New York primarily, and New York and LA, but it's been renting, it's been apartments, it's been with other people. I want my own home that I have designed, that I have put my creations in, other people's creations in, that I've filled the walls with art and picked everything. It's like I want my own space that I know I can always go back to, that's mine, ownership, and
Yeah.
it gets hard and weird when you're, acting because I literally, when I got the job in the Chi, I just put everything in storage. So I have storage, that's a home for my stuff, but
Mhm.
I don't have my own actual home. I just
Yeah.
move around job to job.
Yeah, I mean, I can really relate to that feeling in some capacity because, I live in Denver now, but I'm from Chicago. And I always felt like, is it too soon to make a sense of permanency in my life, knowing that my career could take me anywhere? And prioritizing your career in that way can lead to a transient life, for lack of a better term.
Seriously, and for, at a time, there wasn't the Airbnbs and the, long-term stay places that were furnished already. That is more of a thing now where it's easier to do that, but it leaves you kind of rootless feeling like you don't have your own space. Me and UPS and FedEx are best friends.
Yeah.
I'm always shipping stuff everywhere. So, it's annoying. You want your space.
Yeah. Well, I know that people are listening right now and they're like, hey, I've never had my own home. And that's something that I definitely am looking forward to in the future. But in the interim, how do you define home thus far?
Um, for me, home is a place that's familiar to you, that you feel comfortable in, like it has its arms around you.
Hmm.
You can look around and see parts of your life in it. Um, and safety. That feels like home to me.
Safety is something that it can be so subjective
Mhm.
in terms of the definition, but the feeling is something that I feel like we all have a common denominator on. And in the interest of transparency, we were having a conversation before we started about how much change has happened, especially when it comes to people who are no longer with us anymore in the past year.
Mhm.
And I know for me, that has left me with a feeling that I never feel safe. And you were sharing something with me earlier, and the transparency is completely up to you, but for me, I lost 6 people in the past year. And before that, it was very, maybe someone would pass away every couple of years or so. And yes, it was very hard and traumatic. But now that feeling of not having a safety, of nothing being promised tomorrow, has left me in this state of constant um fear. Almost, it's where the root of my anxiety really comes in. So I'm wondering how you've dealt with the past couple of years where nothing has stayed the same, and we've lost quite a few people.
It I don't know. It leaves me in a state of I don't even know what to call it, where you're just sitting still and the day can go by completely and you not move really. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Like a million thoughts. It's daunting feeling. It's like I just don't have the same get up and go.
Mm.
It's almost like it's stifled me in a way. Um and when we were discussing somebody, I was feeling that way started last night into today where I just was not feeling myself, not feeling good, not feeling just feeling lost, feeling kind of hopeless, like taking a couple of showers just to kind of get out of it and
Yeah.
shake myself up. But then a friend in my theater company just sent out a text to me and a bunch of people, in our group that today was like the anniversary of the death of a friend. And I was like, oh, maybe that's what it was, because it's like you don't understand why you're having these feelings, but it's happening too often and it just feels like time is speeding up in a weird way.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I know I'm not a kid, but I'm also not like in my 80s or 90s where you are, you kind of know your friends are going to fall off at some point. For people to be falling off in their 30s, 40s, 50s doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
I just had a friend die last night and in his sleep, and I'm like, why? How? Why? So yeah, it's I don't know. I self-care is very necessary at this
Yeah.
point. To just take the time out, feel all the feelings that you feel, say all the things that you want to say are feeling, talk to other people. In our line of work, I don't know about you, but for me, I am a pretty quiet person and I'm not around a lot of people. So talking to people is a huge help. Even though I might not reach out all the time, it's like I know it's helpful to talk. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, first of all, I find it so incredibly ironic because people, always think that if you're in the public eye, that you are constantly wanting or needing to be the life of the party. And the the truth is, I feel like most people that I know who are in the public eye are kind of hermits when they're not on the clock.
Yeah.
And the best way I can describe it is, a few years ago, I worked for the NBA and I was the in arena hostess, and I would be, center court for every game. And there's, 17, 18,000 people, and there's all this energy. And I would get home at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and I could not calm down. Like my body was just continuing to like go because you're so amped.
Yeah, you're on.
Exactly.
On.
And that's a feeling that I don't think a lot of people truly understand, that it's so hard to come down from, that you kind of protect that space when it's in your control. Do you feel like that when you get off set as an actress?
You know, and this is the thing that's kind of different in that way. Like, this is why I like film and television so much, because you're in a little bitty bubble with people. So the only people that get to see that are the people that are on set with you, cast and crew. And you can go off and just go home and do whatever. Like, our thing is presented to viewers. If
Mhm.
I had to be live, like say on stage, like theater, because that's a different animal as well. Or in the arena of, like, if I was a stand-up person or something like that, where you're directly in contact with people, that's a different energy. So if I have to go to a public thing where I am out there around people and people are, that's, yeah, you got to be on front, back, sideways, every which way. And, your feet hurt, you got to be on. You're not showing that. It's all about this. And hey, being positive. But it's just like, yeah, when you get in the car to go home, you kind of laugh. And it's just like, oh my gosh, it's such a different thing. And that's something that's so interesting, because like people think that we all are, like you said, on. I mean, I feel there are different kinds of entertainers. There are entertainers, there are actors, there are different kinds of people in this business. And that's a problem that I feel within this business, how we are categorized and how people see us or think of us. We're different. I'm not a reality person. I don't need all of that. I go on TV to be other people, not to be myself acting like myself. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So when you see me, you're out in public, you're just seeing me. You're not seeing Jada, you're not seeing this person, you're not seeing that. You're just me. It's just me. It's just me.
How annoying is it to you if someone calls you by your character's name?
It's not annoying at all. I mean, I'm glad that they are watching, and I love all my characters, whether people like them or not. So yeah, no, I'm glad that they do know my character's name at least. It's great to be in the space where people are now kind of knowing my name as well with the characters, and not just that girl from, but yeah, I don't mind it at all.
And Sis's name is Yolonda Ross. Okay. Comeback community. You're listening to Comeback with Erica Cobb. So, Yolanda, let's talk about your elevation level, because as I mentioned early on, you're actress, writer, director, producer. How much of your career did you envision this happening from the start? And what is it that you recognize now as like, this was an opportunity that presented itself for me to step into this part of the space?
Um, well, I'll say this because this is completely true. It was never a plan. So I truthfully feel that, knowing where I am right now and how I see things, that the plan was there. It wasn't mine, but it's working through me.
Mm.
It
Okay,
is.
you just gave me goosebumps. Like that
I
is so
can't
real.
put it any other way, because I would have never thought that I would be an actress.
Mm.
Knowing what kind of hermit I am, and knowing how, I'm good around people. I can act around people, but me myself, like, I'm in the house, so or by myself somewhere. So I would have never thought to be in front of other people, bringing to life characters and lives. So yeah, I can only attribute that to there being like a higher calling, and me looking at the whole thing, like from how I got to Nebraska, to New York, how I got here on your show. um it was paying attention to signs and just going with things that maybe didn't make sense, but I don't know. I'm gonna just do this and see.
Mm.
I'm gonna just do this and see has been the way that everything has happened for me. And I feel as we get older and more used to whatever the thing is we do, the trappings of how things are done can kind of give us shortcomings, like not allow us to grow the way that we are supposed to grow, I feel. um because it's like you're thinking, oh yeah, well, I shouldn't do this because, or will they say this and that's not going to happen if I do it this way. It's like, do it. The hardest thing to do is to trust and let go, because I mean, bills got to be paid,
Right.
things like that. I mean, look, I was in the fashion business. I went to school for fashion business. I was in the fashion business. I was doing windows, merchandising, managing, buying. And and I would meet people. New York, you can always meet people. And I did music videos. And a few people were like, you should take lessons and da da da. Because that's how I got these commercials. That's how I got that. And always thinking about how do I make money? Because
Yeah.
music is expensive. Took some classes, like audited them. I'm like, okay, no, class is not for yo, because I can't get up in front of these people because I know they're going to be judging me because I know I'm judging them. So I'm going to be in my head, and I just couldn't do it. And I ended up through music, because I sing and play instruments. Music made me understand dialogue.
Mm.
So just to back up, I had did SNL, extra work, because a friend of mine, she was sick one weekend, couldn't do it. I was like, well, it's just a body, right? Can I fill in? And they let me. So it's like your Saturday night is filled with like the SNL people, whoever the musical guest was. You make a couple $100, eat all the craft services.
Yes.
It's a fun Saturday.
Yeah.
And then they just kept hiring me. This was like the late 90s. Like I kept doing SNL. Then I got my union card. I got an agent. And then my first audition was New York Undercover. That's when, I get these sides and I'm like, okay, I've watched the show. Let me just get into this character. And that, it turned the key for me, because it was like, I felt something that I had not felt in myself ever.
Mhm.
And it was like, because I was kind of bored with the fashion business. It's just like,
Uh-huh.
there was nothing for me. I wasn't interested so much. So doing that, learning this text, feeling these emotions of the character, breaking down. If you saw if you see any of my sides or scripts, they're broken down like music. It's like I know how certain tones make me feel inside when I'm singing them or hearing them, cadences, just how you want to say things. It's like that's how I break down scripts. So I got the part. I was a crackhead that got shot
Oh dear.
and was pregnant. So I got all my like stereotypes knocked out.
Oh my God.
First part. And the next part didn't come for like 4 years.
Mm.
And I wasn't thinking about being an actor. I was just like, that was cool.
Yeah.
That job that I did. The company that I was working for in New York, they decided to close up in New York. And so I took that and that severance package to go ahead and like, I'm gonna try this acting thing and see how it works. Because it's like I don't know the business. I don't have any ins. You know what I mean? It's just me. And it's still just me,
Mm.
And that's something we need to talk about later as well, because not being part of a clique is crazy in this business. It's really crazy. But yeah, so 4 years later, I got the audition for Stranger Inside, this HBO film, and I booked it after a month of auditioning.
Wow.
Now that part was it for me. I was somebody else for a month. And everything that I went through and transformed into, there were parts of me that I didn't realize were there.
Mm.
Things that came through me. And that's really the only way I could put it is like, you know, the character came through me. And that's like when people see it, when people saw it, nobody knew I was an actor and I wasn't. But in that moment I was, and then that was it moving onward. I was an actor.
Well, first of all, Yolonda Ross is on Comeback with Erica Cobb. I just want to stop down on a couple things because one reason why a lot of my audience listens to this podcast is because, it's always going to be a testimony teacher, an expert, someone who is either sharing their own comeback story or someone who's giving the nuggets on how to make a comeback after a setback. And oftentimes it's both. And what I like to do is just kind of pick up on some things that I identify with. And you made the comment that you weren't an actress, you weren't an actor when you booked your Strange Things. But that was 4 years after your first acting gig, correct?
Mhm.
And you talked about all of these things that came through you. And going back to what you touched on earlier, it really is in any situation when we identify opportunities, and I'm speaking, from my own experience. I look at opportunities and sometimes I think like, I don't know what made me walk through that door, but I'm so glad that I did. And then when I look back on it, I realized that I had set myself up in ways that I didn't identify for this opportunity going back years. Some of your experience in fashion, your experience in, just being a hustler. like, I mean, that was number one. I mean, you want to talk about comeback tips, comeback tip number one, you need to hustle. If there isn't an opportunity, you better identify opportunities, because at the end of the day, when it's about making ends meet, it doesn't necessarily always have to be a 9 to 5. You may have to work harder by doing that hustle and not having a steady gig. But if you figure out a way to put some of your talents together, bring that together to pay your bills, I guarantee you when that opportunity presents itself, you are going to dip from every single one of those wells to make it happen. And that's what I got from your story.
Yeah, I was dipping. I was dipping. Well, you know what? It's just like, I mean, if you're in a city that's not your home city,
Mm.
you have no family or anything like that around you. And it's just like, how else do you make it? Do you know what I mean? It was just never an option for me. Even though my family is there, it was never a thought to ask for.
Yeah.
It's like, go do because you're out here. Go do. They did, you go do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's really the only way I saw it. And that's the only way like the people around me do. It's like we go do.
Mm-hmm.
Um in this case, yeah, it was crazy because it was like, well, how do they make money? You know what I mean? Like, where do you go? It's like,
Where does the money reside?
where does it come from again? And it doesn't, when do I get the vacation? Like, at a regular job, you got your 2 weeks, maybe 3. You know what the weekly or the biweekly, the monthly, you know what the pay is. It's like this way. I'm like, the bills don't stop.
Right.
You get the job and then the bills keep on coming,
Mm-hmm.
because that job, that's what's so fascinating when people see you on TV or whatever. It's like, yeah, I did that like eight years ago
Yeah. Like,
on that. It's
that
just
money's been gone.
gone before I got the check. It's like, okay, I got to pay this and that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, at this point, when you're getting a $2 residual check, it's not really, it's not 2,000.
Right.
I can truthfully say up until like maybe 2016, yeah, maybe like 2016, like when I was on the Get Down.
Love, sorry, love good. Sorry, I just had to. So good, so good.
So funny. But I feel like it was around that time, 2016, with like the Get Down, and right before that, like say Whitney. It was around that time when I actually started making money,
Mm,
because and I'm looking at, say, like having maybe 2 or 3 jobs in a year that will sustain me.
mhm.
Because it's not like I was on a show. I was, recurring on that show. And
Right.
and How to Get Away with Murder. I had both of those going at the same time. So it was like that was great, but it still wasn't like putting bank away kind of, that
Right.
kind of situation. For me, it was funny because like my start with Stranger Inside, I was the lead of that movie. And when that movie came out, 9/11 had happened at the same time. Like it came out in June, September 9/11 happened. It was like the movie never happened. Like literally because, press. And we didn't have any of this online stuff. None of that was a thing. Um, no magazines were talking about us. No black magazines, no white magazines, nobody. There was no press. And out of that, the Film Independent, that's Spirit Awards and Gotham Awards were what paid attention to those movies because they were independent films.
Right.
So it was like having your home run fouled or something like that. It was just like knocked out of the whole game. And it was like starting all over. So you lead in something, and suddenly then the agencies are sending you out for it was so crazy. They were sending me out for like what's the thing Halle Berry did? Like a Halle Berry role, a Bond girl.
Okay.
Really? When people don't know you, you're gonna book that? Goldfinger, Gold Member, that Beyonce got. These are things that they were sending me up for after one movie that people, it got no press.
Right.
And then they're expecting you to book these things. So it was like I literally had to start all over again. I'm thankful for Denzel and Antoine Fisher. 24 came after that, and a bunch of small movies. Like
Yeah.
I somehow kind of sustained working, and only as an actress, and I'm here. I'm thankful for the Shy and having this job, and I'm just kind of I'm always so blown away when people know of your past work.
Mm,
And now with things like Instagram and FaceTime, not FaceTime, Facebook,
yeah.
and all these things online, people are posting stuff, people are talking about stuff. And when people bring up past work, I'm just like, wow, or post pictures or videos of things that I haven't even seen in forever. So it was like, yeah, it's weird. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a blessing,
It is. It is.
when you talk about your journey, and then also it's the perception as well, because we hype for great reason. I mean, you are such a small percentage of the population who gets to live out this dream. The idea that people, watching television, you grow up watching TV, you grow up watching movies, and you think as a child, like, I want to be there, so we hold it to a pedestal and we automatically conflate all of these other things, including financial success, or financial freedom in that way. But we think, everyone is a millionaire. I mean, I don't, because I understand how these things work now. I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Yeah,
Yeah.
no. You just get to see them go to work. That doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have to work at all. I'll tell you this, that when I was doing mornings in Chicago, which was like a big success for me, and I'm doing mornings, there's billboards on, the highway and everything. And every weekend on Friday and Saturday night, I would still bartend at the same nightclub that I was bartending at in college. And when people started to like understand that like I was bartending, and people would say things to me like, oh, I didn't realize that, you still have to bartend. And the truth was, like, I guess I could have just continued to, make the money I was making doing mornings. But also, like, I had so many other goals, and my morning paycheck was not going to take care of those goals. So it was also such a great lesson in humility for me because, people would say the rudest things to me, just it's my hustle. And I guarantee you that hustle is the reason why I'm still working. And some of y'all who said something to me are not. Thank you. Thank you.
Yo, I give it up to you. I give it up to you because I heard that, or I read that same kind of story from Drew Barrymore. She had been waiting tables somewhere in between, like being, a child actor and being the person she is now, after producing everything and having her own show now. And it was like, I get it. I get it. I am not that good because, like, trust, I have been where, you need that money. So it's like moving one thing over to da 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 da. And I'm just like, I can't be the one that somebody says something to because it wouldn't, yeah, I just wouldn't be cute because we'd have a whole conversation with only me talking and being because there's no reason why I'm not working. It would just be a lot of that. And
Yeah.
just to save myself from going there, just pull back,
Yeah.
and just do things on my own and figure it out somehow.
Well,
But
it's
here now.
yeah, I mean, it's all about figuring it out, but you touched on some things that, in the industry, and I know everyone isn't in the film and television industry, but I think that you said something earlier I kind of want to go back to because I think it's relatable to a lot of people, regardless of what their profession is. And you talked about the idea of a clique, a network, and
Mm.
how it's much more difficult to make moves if you don't necessarily have that. So, can you expound more on that idea?
Well, this business is about relationships. It's I would say maybe like 2 to 5% is talent. I think that's what keeps you here, but
Yeah.
it's relationships because if you don't have the opportunities to get the work or do the work, it doesn't matter if you have the talent, because you never have the opportunity. So, for me personally, the jobs since I've been here so long, I know a lot of people and have worked with a lot of people. So it helps when getting the next job because maybe I worked with that producer before or this person.
Right.
Um, and they can vouch for me, with a network or whomever. Uh, it's like I don't know everybody, but I know a lot of people. And
Mhm.
people that have worked with me will hire me again, and call for me. And that's really how it's been. Because I'll truthfully say it, I'm not the best auditioner. Like auditioning and acting are two totally different things. Two totally different things. Um, I feel like when I auditioned for The Shy, it was something that I read these lines. I was like, oh, well, that's me. That's my sister. That's so many people I know. Her words were just coming out of my mouth as I would say them, so it was easy breezy with that.
Yeah.
But, some things where there's so many different details in the part itself or how they want you to do it. These days, a lot of times you're not even in front of people, you're just taping. So we are the lighting person, the editor, the camera person, we're doing it all
Yeah.
and then sending it in asking for a job, so you get no direction, you're just sending in a tape, um, having figured out on your own how maybe they want it. And that's even one thing compared to now doing things online where you're not even in the room with people, which is weird because like me right now, I could be auditioning for you. And it's like, am I supposed to be, in my head, am I supposed to be looking at you? Should I be looking at something else?
Yeah.
How do they want me to, it's just all these questions and nerves and all these things that come into play in that moment of you trying to get a job.
Mm.
Whereas when you have the job, that's the easy part.
Yeah.
Easy part. Doing the work is the least work out of the whole thing. So yeah, I got way off. I got way off because you were asking about clicks. But yeah, I mean, I do feel like in this industry, it's clicks. And you could kind of look at how things are done, who's doing what, who's connected to who. Oh, that's how they got to this person and they got that job. You know what I mean? It's just like certain people hiring same people, certain people who are friends with other people doing, it's just, it's that. It's that.
Yeah. I think because we recognize it in like in corporate America, like we talk about it all the time. It's like, if you are someone who likes to play golf and your boss is a golfer, then all of a sudden you have this bond because you enjoy the same thing. So now you see something within each other. But I do have to say, and I just feel this, and this is just my feeling on it. I do feel like a lot of the roles that I've seen you in, it's really indicative of your authenticity that comes through on the screen that is stronger than any logistics that could be happening in an audition room. So, that's kind of my thought about, when something's truly meant for you,
Yeah.
it just comes through so strong because you could have completely bombed the audition, but because of your performance and what you're portraying, then it's just sold anyway. So maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel.
You know what? I do feel like there are certain things that I'm drawn to, part wise, character wise. And it goes back to I feel like what moves through me because I feel like if you look at the parts that I've done, a lot of times there are people that people don't look at, sometimes people don't like, people don't pay attention to. I feel like I am the voice for certain people.
Mm.
I am here to connect you, the viewer, to somebody you might not pay attention to, that you might not take the time to get to know. That's what I feel I do. And I do feel in this business that is my purpose because I do bring whatever I'm doing truthfully. That is my goal. And it's like I gotta feel it to do it. And I feel like that's kind of why a lot of times you see me in parts that I feel can be emotional. Like they have certain things to them. Like I don't really book doctors and cops and things like that with a lot of, I guess, like a lot of text where they're kind of not emotional or heartfelt or whatever. Like I don't know if I'm saying it the right way. But characters that are more like textbook.
Mm.
I
Is
don't know
it
if that makes
is
sense.
it like the physicality, the emotion coming through the physicality more than the actual like script, or is it? I'm sorry, I
Well,
don't
like
I don't want to speak to you.
like it's emotion versus just dialogue.
Yeah.
That's what I feel the difference is. Like some of these characters are being stately, they're da 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 da, and they sing all these words, showing how smart they are or whatever the thing is. But for me, I like things where I get to the essence of who the person is. So a lot of times that's not big text words, not big words. It's just reality in how we deal with things like personally, versus personally versus say work.
Right. Right. Comeback community, you're listening to Comeback with Erica Cobb. We are speaking with award-winning actress Yolonda Ross, and let's talk about the characters that you gravitate towards, because Jada on The Shy, this experience was so moving to so many people who have either personally dealt with a cancer battle or are currently, and you went all in on this character. And I don't want to say method acting, but I'm assuming that it had something. I'm not a thespian, so I don't want to just throw out things that aren't correct, but I would assume when I think of method acting, this will be a part of it, because you actually went and sat with the TC Joyner Foundation, and I just want to hear about that experience.
It was incredible. It was incredible. This was, yeah, last season, season 4 of the show. My character Jada was going through breast cancer, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to bring everything I could to this character and to this storyline, to be truthful with it. And so Melissa Simon here at Northwestern, she got me together with different organizations, and I worked with Equal Hope, I worked with Chet, and I worked with the TC Joyner Foundation. So I went to the TC Joyner Foundation in the South Side, and visited these women during one of their meetings. Just to be safe, there's only like 8 people in the room, but on Zoom there's probably like 30 or so women. And it was beautiful. It's just beautiful to hear their stories, hear how they are there for each other, helping ask questions, answer questions of each other. They're there to help each other get to rides, for comfort, support, all kinds of things like that. And it's primarily women of color. So I did that, and I went, as we went through the storyline and Jada was losing her hair, at first I was going to just like wear some sort of wig thing. And one day, our key hair person, who lost 2 sisters to breast cancer, she just called me out of the blue and asked me if I would cut my hair. And I was just like, yeah. There was no thought about it, because it was like, last year was such a weird year, just, with COVID and just everything coming back to work. It was just a weird year. And when she asked me, I was like, yeah. And, I felt all kinds of emotions with it. I was scared. I was thinking about my mortality, thinking about Jada's mortality, just thinking about life and all kinds of things. So when it came time to do it, there was a song that I played that one of the women played at the meeting that I went to, and it was a very emotional day. That that's the only way I can put it. It was a very emotional day, and when it aired, I couldn't tell you how many calls and messages I got, because the women responded, and that they felt that it was truthful and that they were seen, which is what I wanted, because I was just like, when have you seen a Black woman on TV get the opportunity to portray us in that way and get to go all the way with it? I hadn't seen it. I had not seen it. Have you?
No, and it's when just you asking me that, I was thinking about when my brother cut my mother's hair when she was going through her breast cancer battle, and she's okay now, thankfully. But I just remember that emotion surrounding that, and just for you to represent that in so much, in true authenticity, um and be so committed to that depiction that you were willing to cut your own hair. um it's just, yeah, I mean, just beautiful, beautiful. And then the fact that you took it to another step, you talked about not only being seen, but you wanted to shed light, and you said, I wanted to shed light on us.
Yeah.
So, okay, tell us where it went from you depicting the role as Jada to shedding the light on these women.
Well, I mean, it goes back to like kind of like what I was saying before, what I feel I am a vessel for. It's like I am here for us. I'm here for us, like bottom line. Um, when I saw these women and heard some of these stories, it pissed me off that we have to go through this. It pissed me off that anybody has to go through cancer, but some of the stories where they're particular to brown women, I'm like, no, like, why? Why? So there was a viewer that reached out to me through my manager, and she was touched by the story. She said, what can I do? I was like, well, money always helps the situation, because I mean, these organizations are not getting the money that say, other big, because at the time I'm sitting here watching like TV and I'm seeing a list of stars, getting money for another cancer organization. And it's like, well, they can't afford to be on TV. They can't afford to do this, but they help women of color through this journey. And she's like, well, I'll donate 100,000. What? To what? I was like, oh, okay. He's like, who is this again? It's just like,
Yeah.
I was like, I would love to do that. But okay, great. So, how do we do this? It's just like, it was amazing. And so, I finally got to meet this woman, and she's part of the Feinberg family, Northwestern Feinberg, School of Medicine. But she was giving this. The family gave it, and I was like, okay. We got to do something with this, because it was very exciting, and I wanted to share this with the groups, share this with the women. So I come back to Chicago, and this was during August when I was here for the Black Women's Expo. So I asked the foundation if I could, if they could give me like 5 women that would let me photograph them. And so 5 women, came through. I took photos and, got them made up and everything like that, because I just wanted these women to see themselves how I saw them, how we see them. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you're going through cancer, you're losing your hair, you're feeling all kinds of not yourself, feeling less than yourself. But your beauty and strength is there. It's there, and you're going to make it through this. You are going to make it through this. So I photographed them, and I was just going to give them a print for themselves at first. But then when this donation came in, I was like, okay, wait, we gotta have a celebration. That's how I was seeing it. So I ended up getting the prints of the photos and getting them framed and all that stuff. And I at the Asmus Gallery here in the Hilton Asmus Gallery, we had like a party celebration thing, and I unveiled the photos for the women, and the organizations were there, and they got the donation, and it was way more emotional than I ever thought it was going to be, because the women that came through, because I also put out an Evite thing. Eventbrite thing for people. It was free, so they could come and just share and come and enjoy. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful day.
Okay, so award-winning actress, philanthropist, party planner.
Party planner. Will never do that again by myself. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh my
That
God.
is so amazing. And and also we can continue to support this. Let us know where we can purchase. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's Equal Hope, there's the TC Joyner Foundation, and there's Chet, and they all have online websites that you can go to, and donate. You can also go to my website online because the photographs are for purchased prints, and part of that, the proceeds of that go to those foundations. And that's Strange But Beautiful Designs, or YolondaRoss.com. Either way, you can get there. But they're gorgeous, though. I mean,
yes, they are.
The women are they're just regal and beautiful.
It's powerful and so well done. I mean, I really feel, because of my connection to, some of the things that these women are going through my mom, it empowered me, because I felt very, very powerless when my mother was going through her battle with breast cancer. And I know a lot of, kids and family and friends do feel powerless because there's only so much you're able to do. And it certainly doesn't take away their pain in the moment. But something like this, I mean, really showing the beauty and grace is it's just everything.
But also, and thank you for that. That's what you were saying is exactly the thing. It's like the average person in whatever neighborhood doesn't realize that there are organizations there for them. And because, they can't publicize in the way that these bigger ones can, that you feel like you can't get to, or not going to be able to help you, they're right there, so that was part of it, like just letting people know that there are places for them to go to, people that they can call that are in their city that can help them, through this journey.
Well, Comeback Community, I will be listing all of the organizations that we spoke about today, and also Yolonda's website, so that you can go and purchase and support as well. Yolonda Ross, what else would you like to share with our Comeback Community? This has been, I mean, I could talk to you forever.
Me too, and laugh and have a something and just kiki all day.
Yes.
For like amazing stuff. Like I was drawn to you when I saw you on your show, like, because like over COVID, I was home with my parents and they watch you every day. So I was like, well, what is this? Who is this? Oh, okay. She's funny. She's cute. I like her, and so I wanted to make sure that, I got to you somehow. And I'm like, this is great. This is really great. Thank you for having me.
Well, I just, on DBL, we can only talk for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, I just left thinking like, there's so much more I want to talk to her about. So I'm like, just put it on the calendar. Like, let me get Yolanda to see if she'll come on my podcast. So I'm so glad that you took the time.
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about.
Yes. Tell your parents I said hi. I so appreciate them watching. Tell me their names again.
Yvonne and James Ross.
Yvonne and James Ross. Hey, I love you back.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. I so appreciate you. Yolanda, tell us where we can find and follow you.
On Instagram, I am at Yolonda Ross _creator. And for all of y'all out there, it is YOLONDA. YOLO. That's how you can remember my name. YOLO. NDA Ross. Twitter, Yolonda Ross, and Facebook, Yolonda Ross. And my website is it's Yolonda Ross.
Yes, it is Yolonda Ross. Yolonda Ross, thank you for spending a little bit of time with us on Comeback with Erica Cobb. To my Comeback community, check out the full podcast on my online home, comeback.tv, where you can get more on Yolanda and all of the amazing organizations that we talked about today, as well as find out how you can support by purchasing a print. Thank you again.
Thank you.